Welcome to Love and Murder. I'm your host, Share. I'll be joined today by Ky T, our producer, and our flagship episode is the case of the Camouflage Black Widow. You know, Black Widows love to trap and eat their prey. But what happens when a hungry woman offers death on the menu? So stick around. Let's talk about it. And let's get into Love and Murder.
Welcome, and hello, everyone. Welcome to our new podcast, Love and Murder. I am your host, Ky, with my co-host, Char, that y'all, our followers, our past listeners, our fans, our amazing support system may be familiar with us from No Conduct Radio, which was the wildly successful podcast. It was a relationship advice podcast that we had running 5 years strong. Now you would ask, if you have a podcast running 5 years strong, why would you end it? Well, to be simple, because I wanted to. It was a lot of freaking work, and I wanted to end it, and that was it. People were sending in their relationship questions, but it's like you kind of start getting into redundancy with the relationship questions.
Yeah.
And I got tired of, you had a couple trolls, and I personally was getting tired of that. And then I'm the producer, so I have a crap ton load of work to do. So I kind of got tired of all that. So I needed to take a break. And we never had, you know how shows usually have seasons, and then they do the season for maybe 6 months and then have like 6 months off or whatever.
Yeah, hiatus.
We never did that. Yeah, we never went on hiatus. Exactly.
One long ride.
So for 5 years, almost every single week, we were gracing your phones or your laptops, your tablets, wherever you listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's what we were doing. And I was personally just tired. So that's why No Conduct Radio went out. But look, it went out with a bang.
It did.
And
it did.
You're saying, so Ky, if you were so tired, why are you back? Well,
There's more to talk about.
There's so much more to talk about. So number one, our fans kept emailing us and asking us if we're still doing shows. Our what's the word I'm looking for? The people who
fans, our listeners, our support group,
our listeners. But I'm also saying the advertisers, even advertisers were reaching out to me. Reaching out to us, asking us if we were still had a show.
The platform as well, and the responses they would get, with their products and services. They're like, hey, where are you guys going?
Exactly. Because our podcast was actually worldwide. We weren't just listened to in the United States. And so the reason why I came up with a true crime podcast that's also a relationship podcast is kind of a nod to No Conduct Radio, which was our relationship advice. And then during this pandemic, anybody who followed us before knows that I listened to Kevin and Bean. I love that show. But soon as COVID hit and everybody was quarantined, K-Rock fired them. Now
they
Kevin
were quarantined and workless at that point.
Yeah, Kevin and Bean was a show that was running strong for 30 years.
A long time.
30 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they fired them just without warning. They just fired them. So I am on hashtag I hate K-Rock or hashtag boycott K-Rock. That's my personal thing. So I had to find another podcast to listen to, and I came across this true crime / comedy podcast that's called Small Town Murder. And the two hosts on there are hilarious. So you got to go check it out. It's on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. You could find it there. It's Small Town Murder. That's the one I started out on. But then they also have Crime and Sports. So you got to check out those podcasts. They're hilarious. So I figured, not that I take it lightly and say, oh, this is easy. Anybody could do it. Trust me, it is not easy to do.
It's a lot of work.
True crime. Yeah. My God.
Make it sound so amazing, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And Ky is awesome.
Much work.
Thank you, Ky. You're definitely the best. Definitely.
So we decided to do our a homage to No Conduct Radio and mix in true crime, which is something I like to listen to. Not that I like to listen to it.
I think you're addicted. I don't know. It's like you're definitely a subscriber, a Patreoner, all of that. Anything that ends in she's a part of it. That show.
Yeah, so that's where we got Love and Murder. And as you know, with anything that deals with loving somebody, love kind of makes you crazy sometimes. And if you don't have a handle on your emotion, then you just do that hop, skip, and a jump over that line over into crazy town, and then it becomes a crime. So we decided to mix those two together, and that's where we got Love and Murder from. So here we are. Be sure to find us we're on Stitcher. We're going to be on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. We're going to be on what's that
Instagram.
Other one?
Is it Stitcher?
Instagram.
Stitcher? I would say Stitcher. Is that correct?
I said Stitcher.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Stitcher, iTunes. Good Lord.
Oh
Stitcher,
goodness.
iTunes,
Instagram,
wherever you get your podcast. Don't listen to show with this Instagram thing.
No, don't.
It's not a podcast platform. Yes, our social media is on Instagram. What y'all don't know about Char is she's a boomer, so she doesn't grasp.
I want to pretend that I do, but you know what, guys? I just told her old age is finally kicking in. I do forget things, and I'm not as tech savvy as I want to believe that I am. But then sometimes I'll surprise myself, and I'll surprise others around me, believe me. So it's just, it's pretty cool. The point is, if you can turn a computer on, any type of technology or a cell phone, a tablet, a watch that pretends that it's a computer, anything in that manner, we're somewhere where you can find us on there. So technology.
Yeah, so we're here to help you in the commute home if you still have to go out and work, which if you're going out and work in this, more power to you, and we thank you for that. We're here if you're just home, bored, sitting on your couch trying to figure out what to do and about to bang your head into the wall. Please don't do that. Just tune into this show. So wherever you get your podcast, follow us also on social media. Facebook, we're at Love and Murder. Instagram, we're at Love and Murder Podcast. So follow us on there so you don't miss any shows coming up or any new things we may have coming up. Also, if you want to be a producer of the show, and if you want to hear your name at the end of the show in the ending credits, then go ahead and visit us on patreon.com/loveandmurder. What do you get for being a subscriber to us on Patreon? Well, if you do the $5 and above, then you get bonus episodes that you won't hear in our free show. You'll get that as being a subscriber. An example of the bonus episodes we have is most of the bonus episodes, I'm just going to tell you, are going to be from Florida because I don't know what's going on with Florida. That state is crazy.
Oh my gosh!
But an example of one
in the night, gruesome murders. Children being missing.
I don't want to live in Florida, and I have family there.
Yeah.
But an example of the show of a bonus episode that we do have that's going to be coming up is. Just for example, I'm just going to give you a teeny, just a little tip.
Yeah.
Just a tip, Yeah. and pun totally intended, because once you hear this story, a brother bit his brother's penis off. So we'll just stop there.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's going to be a bonus episode that's going to be on Patreon.com.
I would say.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's going to be a bonus episode on Patreon.com for $5 and above subscribers. You're also going to hear bonus episodes in which we just answer your relationship questions. Mm-hmm. And I know to you that sounds like, well, it's just relationship questions. No, if you followed us on No Conduct Radio, you know we don't just have just relationship questions.
Oh, absolutely not.
We have
so much more.
It's more like, what the hell did they just ask? What the frick is going on? That's the kind of relationship questions we get. So those are going to be the bonus episodes on patreon.com/loveandmurder for subscribers $5 and above. But if you just want to support us, then feel free to donate whatever you want. We're happy with anything you donate, 50 cents, 1 penny, $1. whatever. It's your hard earned money that you're giving to us. And that definitely helps us in continuing with this show, buying new hardware, keeping the AC on so Char doesn't melt in that Las Vegas,
New
Nevada heat.
Mexico heat. It's
Oh,
so
my
hot.
bad. She moved to New Mexico. I
Yeah.
don't know what's the difference. She's still in the desert.
Yeah. I went
Uh,
from hot Vegas 117, in the
to
summer
New
to
Mexico.
Mexico.
Good Lord. So,
Yeah.
so if you want to be a subscriber there, go ahead. Like I said, go to patreon.com/love and murder. And so now, without taking up any more of the lovely Share's time, let's get into some love and
And
murder.
murder. Alrighty, guys. Here we are. I've got to say, Ky, I got to take my hat off to you for this one. Only Ky could think of such a subject. But when you think about it, No Conduct was controversial. I mean, it literally, look at the title, No Conduct Radio. And so now I've got to say, Ky, I am actually excited. This is our flagship, flagship. I can't even say the word flagship episode. Oh, but I'm excited. It's our first episode of Love and Murder. And so we're delighted that you all have decided to join us. Tell your friends, tell your grandparents, tell your people that you don't even like. And tell people at work. If you're not distancing and you're at work and of course, you're wearing your mask and you're going, watch Love and Murder. Just don't say it too close to them. You don't want to catch anything. Oh my God, be careful. But yeah, we're excited about this show. And I'm definitely going to bring you guys as much of the juicy, juicy stories that Ky can just conjure up in the headlines. And some of these stories you may not have been familiar with, and that's what makes this show special. I would say a little bit more unique than maybe something else you've heard out there, only because Ky and our research team looks for stories that are just so unusual and just really different. Now let's just start with the fact that today what we have is the case of the Black Widow. Where else can you hear these things, Ky, but Love and Murder? So, so we're going to call this is our motto for today's show. They say the fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I know you've heard that before, guys, right?
I don't believe that. I think the fastest way to the woman's heart is through her stomach. I know a bunch of women who love to eat, and I'm one of them.
And I'm one of them too. But how many men, pray tell, do you even meet that know how to cook, like to cook, and actually are pretty good at it? I mean, explain that.
The thing is, I think I meet the ones who I don't. They're attracted to me. I think I meet the ones because my best friend can cook his ass off. Okay. My ex-husband, he can cook. My husband can cook. Everybody that I know can cook. My brothers can cook.
You're kidding me.
No, I mean.
They were all caught by the same teacher somehow. No,
it would be more weird to me to meet a guy who doesn't know how to cook. That'd be more weird to me.
Really? Well, you're on a roll. You're on a roll. But you know what? Here's the thing. Because gender, well, let's just put it this way. For the longest time, feminism has always been a concern in the back of our minds as women. But many years ago, it's not something you can talk about as a woman. You just do a woman's duties. You do them. It is your job to cook. It is your job to sew. It is your job to clean. It is your job to be a wife when your husband comes home from a hard day's work. It is your job to, to pat him, bring him over and pat his chair, his lazy boy, and say, hey, here's your house shoes, honey. Here is your smoking jacket if you are a cigar enthusiast. If this is your whatever makes him comfortable. Oh, can I run your bath water? Or can I draw your bath water? Back in the day, that would have been the proper way to say it. So, but with that said, there's a lot of responsibility that goes into the duties of what women are expected to do, and it changes as the years go by. And I believe personally, it gets easier for us as women. Much easier these days than it would be, say, 2,000 years ago, obviously. But let's say, how about in 1933? What would you imagine that a woman's role would have been at that time? So now the story of Audrey Marie Hilley, okay, is a study of deceit, pathological obsession, and serial murder. But we've got to remember, Audrey started somewhere, like all of us have, just like the rest of us. And there was a time where she was just an innocent woman. Nope, a girl. She was a girl. She was a child. She was a girl. And then she was a woman. And so we all go through stages in our lives. And so Audrey Marie Hilley, she liked to be called Marie. That was her nickname by her friends, her family, and people that knew her, closely. And so she was born in the state of Alabama. There's a little town called Anniston, Alabama.